Okay guys, it's Matt Hancock's here. Hello again. I'm just going to give you this is going to be a quick short video based on intermittent fasting, or the last final stage where we're going to look at sort of reducing meal frequency. There's a couple of options for you at this stage. So I'm going to just start with a little bit of a reminder of what you have been doing and then give you some options at this stage. Okay, this is your final stage. This is stage 3 of the zip up challenge. So let's crack on. Basically, what we have been doing is we've been probably eating more frequently than you're used to doing. I mean, on the Elevate plan, we're always telling you to eat kind of around about 5 meals a day, you know, and eating obviously more of the right foods. So by this, what we've done is you learn to sort of control your natural compensatory reactions of a dieted metabolism. So if you were, you know, a lot of diets, you kind of reduce your meals or reduce your calories, you know, and you kind of then go to these cravings for sweet foods. You're often hungry, you're low on energy, and so you shouldn't have had any of those responses to this program so far. Therefore, you're able to improve your health, accelerate your weight loss, and really make the weight loss more sustainable. Okay, so obviously by eating more of the right foods, what we've been talking about are those foods that kind of boost your body, work with your body to get the correct balance of hormones. Okay, now balancing the blood sugar is why we've had that sort of 5 meals a day of the right foods, because it's so important to have a nice balanced blood sugar level. It's enabled you to stay focused, be more energetic, more motivated to exercise. Okay, and these right foods are what we call fat loss foods, the most beneficial and non-starchy complex carbohydrates, healthy fats and lean protein. Alright, now once your hunger, energy and cravings are balanced, what I recommend is that you know, we can slowly move towards from the eating more frequently approach to an approach that kind of suits you better. So if you're finding that eating 5 meals a day sometimes is just really difficult to do, then we can look at something now that fits into your plan and your lifestyle easier, without throwing the weight back on and without having cravings and without being hungry. Sounds good? Okay, so there are several different approaches that we must appreciate. Body change is both, you know, an art and a science. The art of the process is about knowing your own metabolic expression and psychological sensitivities, right? And your personal preferences. So everybody's different, and this is you know, the same thing really. I want you to kind of look at your needs and don't just do one step because someone else in the group is doing it. You have to do something that's right for you and something you're going to be able to stick to. Okay, so for instance, you know, someone else in the group, they may be able to skip breakfast, have a sensible lunch, come home for dinner without cravings or unsustainable hunger, whereas you know, you might not be able to do this. You might need to have 5 meals a day and stick to 5 meals a day. Right, you need to understand your own personal approach, because it's that really that's going to deliver you results, because it's that longevity that you'll be able to stick to, right? And that's important when we're talking about food for life, and that's what we're all about. None of this is short-term fixes. Okay. Some may feel that frequent eating, you know, is perfect for them, and if it is, you know, if you're happy with the 5 meals a day and you're quite comfortable with that, then just stay there. Alright, no one's saying you to change anything. If that's working for you, then there's no need to change anything at all. Alright, but some people like the carb cycling approach, which you've been doing over the last 3 weeks, which is superb as well, you know, and you can stick to that. And then, you know, there are others that like some of the methods that I'm going to show you now, and really it's just a choice. It's just an absolute choice on what you want to do. As long as you have your body in balance first, which is what you guys have been doing, as long as your body is in balance, you can then make some different, you know, you can then reduce your meal frequency and make some changes. But you cannot reduce your meal frequency if you haven't balanced your blood sugars in the first place. I cannot express that enough. It's not something that you can just, take on board and go on a massive bender, have a big binge, and then think that you can intermittent fast for the next 3 weeks, or the next day you won't eat just to compensate for that. That is not how it works. That is not an appropriate way of living, and I wouldn't condone it at all. Okay, what we're talking about is intermittent fasting. Once you've got all your blood sugars balanced, once you've done the first 2 steps of this process that you've already done, would you even contemplate including intermittent fasting or reducing meal frequency? Because if you haven't, your body will just hold on to fat like you would not believe, alright? And you'll definitely get the rebound that we're always talking to you about. So, but if you have been following the program and you have been doing your carb cycling, at this stage we can kick on a gear, alright? And I really hope you've been following the program, because this next stage is awesome for results that you're about to get. Okay, so there are 3 choices for you really, and you need to kind of apply a transition out of frequent eating, but one that is right for you. So for instance, you could just go for step 1, where you continue eating frequently but begin kind of like a nighttime fasting regime where food is only consumed within a 12-hour time period. So that means like you might start with a breakfast at 8 o'clock in the morning, you'll finish eating at 8 o'clock at night, and that is it. You'll just eat in those times, no before, no after, and you can make sure that you kind of having a 12-hour time feeding period and a 12-hour fasting period. So that's step 1, pretty easy to do. I think anyone can do that, to be honest, and that's kind of like, if you want to do that, then go for that. Step 2 is where you might reduce your eating frequency a little, so down to 3 meals. So you'd get rid of the snacks altogether. So basically what this would do, for instance, you tend to be, if you are hungry, right, and you have cravings in the evening, then what I would do is have a small protein or non-starchy sort of vegetable snack around 2:30, 3 o'clock. So you'll stick to your 3 meals a day, but then you'll have one kind of preemptive snack in there if and when you need it, and you just throw it in there. Alright, you've got to make sure that you don't go too long without food that you are hungry, okay? Because if you go too long without food and you're hungry, you'll eat the wrong food. So you have your 3 meals and you have one snack that's there for when you have those signs of being hungry. It's preemptive. You make sure that it's there. It has non-starchy vegetables and protein, and it's just small snack to keep you going and keep those hunger cravings at bay. Okay, so that is number 2. Number 3 then is where we would try intermittent fasting. Okay, now if your metabolism is very balanced and reducing meal frequency further, if this appeals to you, then I have developed a very simplistic approach to intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting, in my eyes, is one of the best things you can do to get your body in awesome shape. Okay, like I said, it can't be taken lightly. It's not, oh, I'm going to binge one day and then not eat the next day. It really has to be done in the right way, with the right foods. With your health is always paramount to whatever we do. Okay. Now, just remember, you have to find an eating pattern that works for you. Alright, this is a lifestyle choice to be fit and healthy. Alright, it's no short-term fix. Okay, so the right pattern should keep you full. It should eliminate cravings, should keep your energy nice and balanced. And if you pay close attention to these sort of biofeedback clues, then you'll know how often to eat. Alright, so what to eat and how much to eat will just become part of what you do. You don't have to calorie count, and it should just be there. If you feel hunger coming back strongly, energy lows and strong cravings, you can simply add or go back to more frequent eating strategies. So you just add a preemptive snack in, or you might go back to 4 meals a day or 5 meals a day, whatever works for you. But don't go down the line where you feel really hungry and starving, and you're going to go then and ruin your whole process. Okay, so what is intermittent fasting then? Basically, it is by definition the act of to willingly abstain from some or all food, okay, and in some cases drink as well, for a predetermined period of time. Okay, so the key word here is willingly, and it's the difference between fasting and starving. So you willingly do it, you know why you're doing it, and you have a structure around why you're not eating. So you don't simply not eat because you're trying to get skinny. Alright, that's not what we do. Okay, we have a time period that's set in. It's intermittent times of not eating. So you have a state of where you're fed and a state where you're fasting. Okay, so that's exactly what we do now anyway. We feed through the day, we fast through the night. We're just playing with those times a little bit. So you know, the fed state is where we're eating and storing calories. The fasted state is where we're not eating and we're burning calories. Simple as that. We're just going to play around with the timings. So, you know, fasting is the simplest method of our body has for maintaining its calorific balance. Yeah. So we store a little when we eat. We burn a little when we don't eat. And basically that's the yin and yang of intermittent fasting. That's what it's all about. Okay, so I think what's happened really is that we as a nation are more in the fed state than the fasted state. You know, food's there, it's available to us all the time. You know, we can just eat if and whenever we want to, basically. So some researchers said that we spend as much as 20 hours a day in the fed state. So we're just constantly eating, storing food, and never really give ourselves a chance to burn it off properly. Okay, so you know, if we were meant to be in a constant cycle of feeding and fasting, our bodies, you know, are designed to store fat when we overeat and burn it later when we have no choice but to undereat. That's basically what our bodies are designed to do. If you think back in time, so we're just going to play around with things that are perfectly normal if done correctly. If your blood sugars are balanced and you're eating all of the right foods, then there's no problem with it. Okay, when you don't eat, and then when you choose to eat and it's kind of low fat nonsense food, packaged food product, then you know you're not giving your body anything, and that's when we can look very, very skinny and, you know, going down perhaps some of the extreme diets that some models and some celebrities would go down. That's not for us. Okay, we don't want that emaciated look. We want that nice healthy glow, and we want to change our body shape, and we want to keep hold. Fundamentally, we want to keep hold of all our lean tissue at the same time as burning off some fat. Okay, so how does it supercharge your results then? Basically, what intermittent fasting will do, and carb cycling. I mean, we introduced carb cycling and intermittent fasting for these very same reasons, okay? But fasting is just turbocharging your results a little bit more than carb cycling will. Yeah? And it's essentially, you're going to see a massive change in your body shape, which is why I ask you to take photos along the journey, because right now you may not be seeing a little, you know, if I was weighing you, of course on the zip up you're not being weighed, and you're just going by your clothes, but if you were being weighed, there probably wouldn't be massive differences in your weight, but what we would see is massive changes in your measurements and also the way you look. The photos are such a good thing to do at this time, because nothing shows you how your body is changing more than a photo. Okay, yes, okay, we can go by how we feel in our clothes, but if you really want to see the definition come through and you want to see where fat is melting away, then photos are the only thing that will ever tell you this. And this is why on every single protocol I give out, I say take photos, because it's motivating, and you know, it should be what you're all doing. If you're not doing it, then that's your prerogative. But all I can do is tell you the best ways to do things, and you can just choose what you want to do. Okay. So basically, here's a list in ways that intermittent fasting will turbocharge you. So it increases your fat burning hormones. Yeah. So hormones are usually at the root of most of your metabolic functioning, which we know, we've talked a lot about this, and fat burning is no different. Okay. So your growth hormone is the most important fat burning hormone in your body, and fasting will actually push your growth hormone production into a higher gear. This makes your fat burning furnace start to work overtime. Fasting will then decrease your insulin levels, which we know if your insulin is decreasing, your glucagon will rise, which means that you're no longer got so much fat storing hormone, but you've got more of your metabolizing hormone, okay, glucagon. So it will increase your fat burning hormones. It will increase your fat burning enzymes, okay? So fat burning hormones need the help of fat burning enzymes to get their job done. Fasting will skyrocket the activity of two of the most important fat burning enzymes in your body. So you've got basically in your adipose tissue hormone sensitive lipase. Okay, now this is the enzyme responsible for allowing your fat cells to release fat so it can be burned as energy. You've also got muscle tissue LPL, which is the lipoprotein lipase. Okay, now this is the enzyme responsible for allowing your muscle cells to take up fat so it can be burnt as fuel. Remember, we've said before that muscle is the only source that will actually use fat for fuel. Okay, so fasting increases both of these enzymes, which therefore means that you're optimizing your fat burning. It's a completely perfect combination of fat burning hormones and fat burning enzymes. If you increase both of those, you're onto a winner. And if you do go with this and you stick with it, I'm telling you, in 3 weeks' time you'll be like a different person. Okay. Obviously, then you're going to be burning more calories. Yeah. So short-term fasting, we're talking kind of 12 to 72 hours max. I personally 24 hours tops for me. But that will I've known people actually go 5 days of fasting. It's way too extreme. We don't need to be going there. Okay, we do things that we know we're going to be able to do. So basically, your metabolism and adrenaline levels will increase. Okay, by short-term fasting, because it causes you to increase calorie burning during the fast period, basically because the more calories you burn, the faster you can lose weight, as you know, right? So the extra energy you get from the fast might actually help you through a workout and get more work done. Therefore, if you're getting more work done, you're burning more calories. Yeah, your juice will give you more energy. So I remember when I did my first fast, I was absolutely shocked at how awake and energetic I was. I felt like if I wasn't good, because I've always been one of these people that needs food all the time, and I just feel if I don't eat every kind of 3 hours, I get really, really grouchy. No one really wants to be around me when I'm like that, and very, very low on energy. And I thought there's absolutely no way in the world that I could do a fast. But actually, when I did it, I was so surprised at how awake I felt and how much energy I had. And so now I find that when I am fasting, they're some of the most productive days that I have. I'll get on to the reasons why in a little while, because there's certain, you want to keep yourself busy for certain reasons, and I do find that I get very productive on those days. You're going to be burning fat instead of sugar. Alright, so fasting shifts your metabolism from burning blood sugar to burning mostly body fat, which is exactly what we want to be doing. Now, when you eat a meal, your body likes to burn carbs first, then the fat from your food. So any extra fat that your body can burn in a few hours after you eat gets stored as body fat. When you fast, your body has no choice but to burn stored body fat. So by the end of the 24-hour fast, if you attempt that one, your body is burning way more fat than just a sort of during a regular day of eating. Okay, so you will burn much more fat, which is great. Okay. And you'll also find out why you eat. All right. Now, this is a benefit. This is a real good benefit, obviously. But what happens is that it makes you more conscious of what you're eating. You make more of a conscious decision to, if you're fasting for a day, you're less than. Basically, what happens is that the most effective step to getting rid of bad habits is good, as we all know. Yeah. So knowing what your motivations are for poor eating choices is essential before you can change them and build better habits. Does that kind of make sense? When you do fast, you kind of, obviously there might be cravings for certain foods, but you kind of look towards, well, if I'm going to eat, I'm going to make sure I'm going to have decent food that's going to serve my body well, rather than foods that are going to cancel out all this good stuff that I've just been doing. All right. So I'm not, it's not saying that some cravings won't be there, but what you're going to do is make sure that you're more aware of what you eat and why you eat it. Okay, you're not just eating food or eating product just because it's put in front of you or just because it's in your cupboards. It shouldn't be there anyway. Okay, so in summary, short-term intermittent fasting, right? In all the research I've done, has been shown to do all of these. It will decrease your body fat and of course your body weight. But because it increases your growth hormone and your glucagon levels, you will actually keep hold of your lean tissue. So you'll be metabolizing more fat, but because of the increased growth hormone, you'll be keeping hold of your lean tissue. Phenomenal. Okay, it's also been known to decrease chronic systematic inflammation, which, when you've looked at your personal protocols, your inflammation is one of the big key things I want you to be working on. So this will do that. It will detoxify you. Fasting is known to detoxify. It's actually a method of detoxing. Okay, you will obviously get decreased blood glucose levels, so you'll be decreasing your blood sugar, and as we know, that's one of the first things we look at on a weight loss program. You'll be decreasing your insulin levels and increasing your insulin sensitivity. Amazing, we've talked about that as well in the past. And so if you reduce insulin sensitivity, it can go to diabetes and increase your insulin sensitivity. You can obviously get type 2 diabetes and ill health. Okay, so it also, like I said, with the growth hormone, you keep and maintain your skeletal muscle mass, which is important. You want to keep hold of your lean tissue and just reduce body fat. And of course, you're going to increase your lipolysis and fat oxidation, which is basically just fat melting. So you're going to increase that as well. All good. All good. So what do we do now? So how it works is this. Basically, all you're going to do is you're going to add in week 1, you're just going to add in 2 fasts where you just you're just skipping your breakfast and your morning meal. So you'll eat at noon and then continue eating as normal for the rest of the day. So you'll still do your carb cycling that you've been used to doing now. You're just going to throw 2 little fasts in. Week 1 is a cinch. All right, there is no reason why any of you should be saying I can't do that. Okay, because it's just what you've been doing, and 2 days you're just going to go to 12 o'clock. So it's not that hard. All right. Week 2, you're going to do 1 24-hour fast. So your second intermittent fast is actually going to be for 24 hours. So this one's a little bit harder. It's a full day. You're going to have to psych yourself up for it. But you do a low carb followed by 24 hours. So this is an amazing week where you're going to see phenomenal changes. So not only are we sort of confusing your calories, we're also going for that stage of not eating for 24 hours and really boosting your growth hormone and boosting your glucagon levels. So you're going to get an amazing result. Okay. Before we move on to week 3, where you actually do 3 fasts rather than 2. So you do 2 16-hour, 1 24-hour, and it's just cycled through like that. So that's it. That's all you do. You do 3 weeks of intermittent fasting. So the first week is a cinch. You've got 2 weeks where you've got to put a little bit more effort into it, but I think all of you can do this. If you feel that you don't want to, then you can just do one of the other steps, and that's fine as well. It just really depends where you are at this stage and where you want to be in 3-4 weeks time. If you want to be a size down in 3 weeks, do this. Alright, this will take you down a size, I guarantee it, in the next 3 weeks. Alright, so that's what I would advise you to do. Now, just remember, okay, and keep in mind that I'm not asking you to starve yourself. Alright, keep in mind please that brief breaks from eating are absolutely nothing new. Yeah, all of us fast for about 8 hours probably every single night. So I'm simply asking you to expand this fast and tinker around with it a little bit. Okay, so in order to fast for 24 hours, you're going to build up to that. Okay, so by doing by doing 1 week where you do 2 little fasts first, and you just build up to it. Now, for the 24-hour one, you can do a time that suits you. You could go, you know, from 6. You could have your last meal at 6 at night, and then not eat again until 6 the following evening. Is one way of doing it. Okay. Or you could go, say, from 2 in the afternoon and then not eat again until 2 in the afternoon the next day. I prefer that because I'm kind of sleeping through the fast anyway. So I go 2 till 2, but you can do it any which way you want to. The key is just to make sure that it's something that you're able to do. Yeah? I find that, you know, if someone says to me that they find the beginning of a fast much harder than the end of the fast, then you might want to try kind of 8 p.m. until 8 p.m. It's really, really flexible. It just depends when you think you're going to need to eat. If you find it harder at the end or the beginning, and that, just do your timings. Just do 24 hours. Okay. Now, on your fast, it is permissible. You can have at this stage black coffee if you wish. Alright, just to give you that, if you feel that, you know, you're finding it quite hard and you're dragging your heels a bit, you could have some black coffee. I don't advise it, but you could if you wished. Green tea, herbal tea, loads of water, basically, is what you want to be having. Just loads and loads of green tea, herbal tea and water to keep yourself going that way. Okay? So, I'd also recommend at this point that you might want to supplement with a product called glutamine and BCAA, or branched chain amino acids. Both of those will help you keep hold of your lean tissue. So I would advise that you do that. It's not, you know, you don't have to, but I would advise you did. So if you really want to keep hold of your lean tissue, and I guarantee that if you do this intermittent fast and you're not doing the strength training or the density training like you should be doing, you definitely need to go on glutamine or BCAAs, because you won't hold onto your muscle at all. But if you are doing the strength training and the density training as per your program that you had 3 weeks ago, if you are doing that, then you know you might get away with not having them. But if you're not doing it, you definitely need to. Otherwise, you're just going to melt away, and it's not melt away in a good way. Okay, you're going to strip your body of its lean tissue. Okay, so make sure that you take that on board, please. So after the 3 weeks, what I'd advise you do is do 1 more week of carb cycling. So the carb cycling you've already been doing, just do 1 week of carb cycling, and then it's up to you. You've got 2 choices. You could either continue carb cycling if that's something that you really enjoy doing, or you can go back to just a normal eating of 40-30-30, so 40% from your carbs, 30% from your protein, 30% from your good fats. Stick with that 80-90% of the time, because you'll now have the body you're after. Simple. Okay. If after these 4 weeks you're still wanting to lose a bit of weight, then probably just give yourself a break for a week, and just be a bit more relaxed with what you're doing, probably about 80% of the time, and then go straight back into carb cycling again. Intermittent fasting is not something that I would recommend you did all the time. Okay, it's just short term. So, you know, by sticking to your clean diet 90% of the time, throwing in 2 or 3 intermittent fasts each year, or before you're wanting to. It does take a lot of discipline in my opinion. So you want to be more relaxed, and then at some stage go, right, well, I'm going on holiday in 2 months time, or I'm getting married in 2 months time. I'm going to do intermittent fasting for a month, and then or carb cycling for a month, followed by intermittent fasting for a month, and then go back to my normal eating regime. So that's kind of what you want to do. Of course, normal eating regime is clean diet 90% of the time, 40, 30, 30. That is what I mean by normal eating regime. I don't mean pigging out. Okay? Great. So that's basically what I want you to do, right? While you're fasting, guys, just really be in tune with your biofeedback, right? Your biofeedback is a form of stimulus which we all have. Okay, so when parts of your days are lacking excitement or stimulation, like when you have a boring day at work, for instance, it's more often than not, people will start snacking or making 10 cups of coffee a day. All right, it's because they're just replacing mental stimulation with a food stimulation. That's all you're doing. All right, or all they're doing. So what you need to do is just make sure that you're drinking loads and loads of fluid and keep yourself busy. So this is what I mean when I say my intermittent fasting days are probably some of my most productive, is because I keep myself really, really busy and I'm full of energy, and I drink loads of water, because I know that thirst is often mistaken for hunger. So if I keep hydrated, then I'm all right. What you've got to remember, guys, is you're only doing it for a day. All right, our ancestors used to go much more than 24 hours without eating. So your body will not go into shutdown by doing one 24-hour fast. I'm advising you to do only one. I wouldn't do any more than one 24-hour fast in a week, because I just don't think there's any need to do that. One is enough. You'll get amazing results on just doing one, and it's really not as hard as it sounds. Okay, so I wish you the best of luck with it, whichever focus you go for. I'd really like you all to try the intermittent fasting, but if you don't think it's for you, then take one of the other steps and cut down, obviously continue with your carb cycling approach, but just cut down the number of meals that you're having maybe. Just remember that you still need to provide yourself with the right amount of calories in those reduced meals. So it's not a case of, right, well, I used to have 5 meals, now I'm just going to have 3, so I'm cutting out 1,000 calories. That's not what you want to be doing at all. What you want to be doing is making sure that if you were having 5, you just split the calories that you were having over 5 meals over 3 instead. Does that make sense? I'm hoping that makes sense. Okay, so that's very, very important. It's why I've asked you to calculate your calories based on lean body mass. Okay, if you don't want to work out your calories based on lean body mass, even though that's the most accurate thing and the one I really want you to do, then you can just go on myfitnesspal.com and work out what your calories are, and know that if you have a few less than that, you're going to lose some weight. But the most important thing to remember is it's not just about calorie restriction, it's making sure that you're providing your body with the right sources of nutrition first. Okay, we don't talk a lot about calorie restriction, because if you simply go into a calorie restriction diet, you're not providing your body with the right food. You've got to provide your body with the right food. You've got to get all your hormones in balance, and then you can kind of do that and look at it and go, right, this is what I should be eating, this is how many calories my body wants to stay alive. I'm going to just reduce it slightly, but still provide it with all the nutrients and supplementation that it needs. Okay, keep your body burning the most amount of fat. So I'm really excited about this stage. This, for me, is the best stage that you're going to do. It's where you really see some changes. If you haven't taken any photos on your journey, I suggest you at least do them now. So take some now and take some in 4 weeks' time. You'll regret not taking them at the beginning. Once you see the difference in these 4 weeks make, you really will regret not taking them at the beginning. But it was your choice. It was an 8-week program. I told you to do it. If you don't want to do it, we've all got free choice in this world. But I'd advise you to take photos every 4 weeks, because your body is going to change and you're going to look phenomenal, even if the scales don't change. Okay, guys, that's it. See you later. Bye.